Hello everybody, my name is Jake. Last name is Rosenblum, and you can call me J-Rose. What? There's another YouTuber that already goes by J-Rose? Well, that's okay. My content is related to Pokemon, and his... What? You're saying this guy's content is also related to Pokemon as well? Okay, that's fine, because this content will be based only on Pokemon Challenge videos, so our content is definitely not related in any way. What? His videos are mostly challenge videos as well? God damn! Well, for all intents and purposes, you can call me another guy. This is my gamer tag, and after a widespread resurgence of Gen 1 and Gen 2 Pokemon content coming from YouTubers like JRose11, Madrybread, and Scott's Thoughts, I'm basically just another guy making some videos. With the introductions out of the way, let's get into the video. Since I'm very into the competitive scene of Smash Bros. Ultimate, as well as have extreme nostalgia love for Pokemon, I thought it would be interesting to make a video that ties both of the games together. Then my roommate said, you should play the game as Pokemon Trainer from Smash Bros. Ultimate. Perfect. But before, we must look at the characters and movesets from Ultimate. Let's start off by saying this run is going to be super easy. As we all know, Pokemon Trainer in Ultimate is totally busted. We need to ban him from all tournaments. Sakurai, fix his character. Oh my god. Nah, I'm kidding. But seriously, when we look at the characters, we will see that their move pools are very limiting. We will begin with Squirtle. For this character, we will be using his Up B, which I'm calling Surf, since he is literally surfing the waves to recover. His Neutral B, Water Gun. His Dash Attack, which we will call Tackle. And his Side B, Withdraw. Wait a minute. Withdraw in Gen 1 is a non-damage dealing status move. But in Ultimate, Withdraw does damage? No. Screw that. We're calling this Skull Bash. And there you have it. These are the moves Squirtle will be able to use in battle. Let's move on to Ivysaur. First, we will use his Dash Attack, and again, make it Tackle. His Up B is Vine Whip. His Side B is Razor Leaf. And that's it. No, you thought I'd get Bullet Seed? No, that's not a Gen 1 move. And if we're going to be accurate, well, we're staying true to the Gen 1 games, and Ivysaur only gets 3 moves. Finally, we have Charizard. We will start off by using his Forward Air, which looks kind of like a Slash. And we all know Slash is just a more powerful crit-dealing version of Scratch, so those will be used interchangeably. Basically, once Charizard learns Slash, we'll just get rid of Scratch altogether. Next, we have his Up Throw, which I am calling Seismic Toss. Third, we have Charizard's Up B, which is Fly. And finally, we have his Neutral B, which is Flamethrower. Now, let's get into the game. But before we start, let's look at the rules. And it's very important we follow the rules, because without the rules, we would not have schools, and we would lose.
Loser. Hey, I've heard this call before. I'll bet you have.
Rule number 1. I can only use the Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Charmander line in battle. I will obviously be using other Pokemon outside of the battle for HM purposes, as they will not affect any of the in-game battles. Rule number 2. I can only use movesets that are given to the characters in Smash Bros. Ultimate. Rule number 3. No items in battle. Rule number 4. No glitches. I started off by naming my character J-Rose? It's a joke because my name is Jake Rosenblum, and there's that other Pokemon Challenge video YouTuber named J-Rose, and I already made that joke. Okay, yeah, I'll skip over that. Alright, then I named my rival Ass, because, well, he's an ass. I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to start off with Bulbasaur, who I named Flower, because it literally looks like a flower. I had to make sure I won the first fight so that my rival's final evolution would be Jolteon. I ended up losing the first fight several times and accidentally used a potion, forgetting my own rules I set in the beginning. But with the combination of Eevee's high crit possibility due to her high speed and my not so great attack, I felt like the battle didn't really matter that much, and I'm a fraud. Sorry, but no more potions in the battle going forward. It was pretty easy for me to pick Jolteon as my rival's final form in the evolution line because it pretty much hard counters all 3 of my Pokemon. It's kind of insane to think about how Vaporeon only counters Charizard, but gets destroyed by Ivysaur. Flareon destroys Ivysaur, but gets countered by Squirtle, and Jolteon destroys all 3 of my characters, since Thunder is super effective against Charizard and Squirtle, while Pin Missile is a multi-hit move that is super effective against Ivysaur, and none of my Pokemon have any answers, since I won't be able to teach Dig or Earthquake to any of my Pokemon. I trained up until I felt I was strong enough to beat the rival at the optional fight near Victory Road. The battle was not super interesting as I just mashed Tackle and Vine Whip and hoped the Sparrow wouldn't peck me to death. After that I headed over to Brock. I knew this battle would be a piece of cake since Vine Whip destroys his team and destroys the other trainers in his gym as well. So you can watch me beat him with just 2 Vine Whips. After Brock I headed towards Mount Moon where my Bulbasaur evolved into an Ivysaur. Mount Moon was about as easy as one would expect. I made sure to take the Dome Fossil, since I guess rebellious people are the ones that take the Dome Fossil. So I'm jumping on the new Rebel bandwagon. Comment down below if I'm being rebellious enough for you. I won't even mention how comments are good for the YouTube algorithms. That's how rebellious I am. I then lost another battle to Team Rocket as I went into the battle with low health and no potions to use outside of battle. When I arrived in Cerulean, I decided to try my luck with the rival first. It was another basic battle of using Tackle to get past the Spearow and then Vine Whipping my way past the rest of the Pokemon. Right after, I knew my Ivysaur was already strong enough to beat Misty, so I just fought her, and you can see she went down in just 2 Vine Whips. Pathetic. Right after that extremely easy battle with Misty, I went up Nugget Bridge, dying once from only being able to use Tackle and taking too much damage, grabbed Charmander and named him Flamey, then died again, taking too much damage, and then finally made it to Bill's house to help him and get the SSN ticket. After that, I made my way to Vermilion. At this point, my Charmander was incredibly underleveled and could barely keep up with the random Pokemon I'd encounter in the grass near Diglett Cave, so I just did the next best thing and leveled him up at Diglett Cave. So, here's a montage of me doing that for you. During the montage, I also caught a Diglett to teach him Cut and Dig. I went straight to the rival on the boat where, again, he was a bit of a pushover. My Ivysaur was a bit over-leveled at this point, so I wanted to start off with Charmeleon to raise his level a bit. Then mid-game, I realized Scratch was just not cutting it enough. So I switched to Ivysaur and beat him with a few Vine Whips. This is where I was finally able to get Razor Leaf, which will basically be the reason this run won't drive me crazy. Because Razor Leaf's good base power, it being a stab move, and having a high crit rate, I will have a much easier time going forward with Ivysaur. Right after I rubbed the Sea Captain and made him feel better. Okay. Now that I have Cut, I could go to Lieutenant Surge's gym and do his stupid trash puzzle, which to this day still makes no sense to me. I had to use a guide, and even the guide didn't work for me. I had to use save states because the guides were misleading, and what a stupid puzzle. My tactic with Surge was to scratch his Raichu for as many turns as I could until Flamey fainted, then switch into Ivysaur and spam Razor Leaf. After I got the Thunder Badge, I showed it to the officer and got my Squirtle. I named him Squirt, since that is the sound he makes in Ultimate whenever he uses random moves, and it just seemed pretty fitting.
What?
Then Small Brain Me remembered I could use Seismic Toss and grabbed the TM on Route 25, which I could have just grabbed earlier. And this is going to be great because it works on ghosts for some reason, and is also neutral effective against rock Pokemon. What a great game. The Dark Cave was a breeze, as I now have Vine Whip and Razor Leaf to beat the hikers with the Geodudes and the Gravelers, so I'll just jump straight forward to the rival fight number 4. The fight also wasn't that special now that I had Razor Leaf. I started off with Charmeleon as I knew my Squirtle was underleveled, and Peck is Ivysaur's nightmare. After the Fearow, I switched into Ivysaur to deal with the Shellder, then Squirtle to counter the Vulpix. Lucky for me, Squirtle also counters Sandshrew, so I just kept him in there and tried to whittle down as much damage as I could before he went down. Then I switched into Charmeleon to finish him off, and that was the Rival 4 battle. Man, this rival battle is feeling easy, and I don't even have all my moves I plan to use yet. I then went to Celadon, and this is where most people say the game opens up, and while that is sorta true, it felt sad knowing I couldn't go and get Ice Beam and Psychic and make my Pokemon Mega OP! Sigh. I made my way through the Rocket Hideout, constantly going back to the Healing Center as my Charmeleon was just not strong enough to continuously battle all the Rocket Grunts. For the Giovanni 1 battle, I started off with Squirtle, as I knew Water Gun was enough to beat the Onix and Rhyhorn, even at my lower level. Then I put on as much damage on the Persian before my Squirtle fainted. Then I switched into Ivysaur and Razor Leafed my way to victory. After grabbing the Sylph Scope, I made my way to the Ghost Tower. This is where Seismic Toss really shined. Since Squirtle was not strong enough to deal with the Ghost Pokemon and Grass is weak to Ghost, I was incredibly fortunate I could use this move to get through the tower. Once I beat Team Rocket and saved Mr. Fuji, I grabbed the Pokeflute and headed over to Erica's gym. One would expect having a fire Pokemon would make the grass gym really easy, and that would be the right thing to assume if the fire Pokemon actually had a fire move. Luckily, my Charmeleon still resists grass moves and has Slash, a high crit move. Right after the battle, my Charmeleon evolved into Charizard, and with that I could finally use Fly. While it's not the greatest move, at least I have something that is super effective against grass now until I get Flamethrower. I then made my way down to Fuchsia. I decided I would first take a shot at Koga. I figured I had Fly, and I could possibly sweep through his team, and I almost did. Unfortunately, I was just a few levels too low for his Venomoth. It was way too inconsistent, as I had to rely on Fly to hit him, and with the combination of getting hit by Toxic, wasting a turn to use Fly, and Venomoth setting up Double Team, I had no chance. So I did the next best thing, and went to the Safari Zone, got Surf, got the man's missing teeth. Even though I can't use Surf to go to Cinnabar Island right away, I can still use it in battle, which will be way better than Water Gun. This was a perfect chance to start leveling up my Squirtle at the Rocket Hideout in Saffron. Once I made my way through all the grunts, I felt it was time to take on, I gotta say it, Rival Fivel. I knew the Sandslash was first, so I started off with Ivysaur for a one-turn Razor Leaf KO. Then I switched into Diglett because I'm stupid. I was lucky enough that the Ninetales didn't throw out a ton of damage-dealing moves, so I could take it out with Squirt. Then I switched back into Ivysaur to do another one-turn Razor Leaf KO on Cloyster. For the Kadabra, I switched into Flamey to one-hit KO with a Slash. Then all I had left was Jolteon, so I finished him off with 2 crits. After the battle, I picked up the Lapras and didn't name him something because I totally forgot, but let me tell you, it would have been really funny. I then healed up and headed into the Giovanni fight. I actually thought the starting Pokemon would be a rock type, so I started off with Squirt, only to find out it was Nidorino. Whoops. Even though it ended up being a 4-hit KO, Giovanni'd his way to a loss. He started off using Focus Energy twice and a Guard Spec, so the Nidorino was a piece of cake. I then swapped into Charizard for Persian since Squirt would have no chance. Then for the Rhyhorn, I brought Squirt back in for an easy one-turn Surf KO, and then again brought in Flamey to finish the job for a 3-turn Slash KO. Now that Flamey leveled up, I decided it was time to head back to Fuchsia and give Koga another try. Let me tell you, those extra few levels made all the difference. Before, I wasn't able to one-shot the 3rd Venom Gnat with Fly, but now it was no problem. This meant they couldn't set up Toxic on me, so when it came time for Venomoth, it was an easy 2-hit KO. With the ability to use Surf, I surfed my way down to Cinnabar Island, went into the mansion, and got the secret key. I then used the trainers in Blaine's gym to level up Squirt a bit, since he was now the weakest link. For Blaine, I figured the combination of having a water-type Pokemon and Blaine having some of the worst AI in the game, the battle would be easy peasy. While I did win on my first try, Squirt was only able to take out Ninetales before going down. Ivysaur was one-hit KO'd by a non-fire move, leaving me only with Charizard. Then, for some reason, despite his Pokemon being almost 10 levels above me, were not able to do enough damage to me, and I was able to secure the victory with Slash. With the 6th badge under my belt, it was time to fight Sabrina. There was no real motive for skipping her since Charizard can just use Slash and her Pokemon have weak defense. I just thought I would give Squirt some love. With that being said, there isn't much to watch. Down goes Abra, down goes Kadabra, and down goes Alakazam. And with that, it was finally time to fight. You guys ready for it? 3 of Vani. See, I'm just as funny as J-Rose. I mean, I am J-Rose, as you can see from my name. For the Giovanni fight, I started off with Squirt since I knew his Doug Trio didn't have any devastating moves that would hurt me. I also got pretty lucky, his Sand Attack missed and he used a guard spec. I then sent out Flamey to deal with Persian. After 2 slashes, his Persian went down, and then he sent out his Nidoqueen. I knew my other Pokemon were not high enough level, so I kept Flamey in and tried to see how much Flamethrower would do versus Slash. I think Flamethrower did a tiny bit more, but it didn't really matter since it would have been a 3-hit KO either way. He was able to get off a Thunder, which did a lot of damage to Flamey. Then came the Nidoking, and this is where things got weird. I thought I was doomed since I had my level 38 Ivysaur versus a level 58 Nidoking, and I was pretty sure the Nidoking had plenty of moves that could have just one-shot my Ivysaur. But nope, he just kept spamming Leer, which inadvertently triggered the badge boost glitch, raising my special, and allowing me, a level 38 Ivysaur, to take out a level 55 Nidoking. Gotta love Gen 1 AI. I figured my Ivysaur had enough fun for one day, and I switched into Squirt to finish off the Rhydon with a 1-turn Surf. And with that, the regular season is over. And so far my team has done pretty well, but now we are moving into the Elite Four. And this is where things are going to get brutal. But why are we even talking about the Elite Four when we still have rival number 6? So let's talk about this battle. I decided to start off with Squirt against Sandslash, as I knew he had nothing that would take down Squirt easily. Except a crit Slash! At least Squirt was able to hang on and secure the kill. Then Execute came out, and I knew one Flamethrower from Charizard was all I needed. I decided to try my luck with Squirt against his Ninetales, and there you go. Gotta love this game's AI. Next came Cloyster, and I threw an Ivysaur hoping a Razor Leaf crit would be enough, but unfortunately due to my low level I was not fast enough and I missed the crit. I was debating on if I wanted to throw in Flamey or Squirt since I needed to preserve Flamey for the Jolteon, so I threw in Squirt. I had a feeling the AI would think to use non-damage dealing moves since it was water versus water, and I was right. Now all I needed was extreme luck with Supersonic missing, and it hit. Well, as long as I don't hit myself... Perfect! Oh wait, Skull Bash sucks. Well, this sucks, as now I can only use Surf, and I'm confused. Hey! I'm not confused anymore. And I am confused again. Great. But it didn't matter. And with that, I switched back into Flamey for Kadabra for a 1-hit slash, and then Jolteon Thunder Waves me. Okay, not bad. Then Jolteon Thunder Waves me once and twice. Oh. So I tried the battle again and got back to Jolteon just to see him Thunder Wave my Flamey once and then Thunder me to death. Luckily, I got a slash, so all I needed was extreme luck with Squirt. I go for Surf and accidentally hit Water Gun. I'm doing great so far. He misses his Thunder, and my Water Gun does pathetic damage. I then go for Surf and he misses Thunder again, allowing me to hit a crit Surf and secure the win. You gotta love how luck-based this game could be. While I head over to the Elite Four, let's talk about the matchups we will be facing. First we have Lorelei. I'm saying Lorelei, okay? Although Ivysaur will be able to counter 4 of her 5 Pokemon, 3 of them will have ice moves, not including Jinx, which straight up counters Ivysaur. But luckily we have Charizard, which will counter Jinx, but even so, it's not looking pretty. Then we have... Bruno. Just... Bruno.
No.
Next we have Agatha, who is known for being a lottery, and let me tell you, this will be like a lottery you've never seen before. Since I have no moves that are strong enough against Ghost, I am for sure going to get tons of Confuse Rays and Hypnosises thrown at me, and there's nothing I will really be able to do about it. Then there's Lance, which is going to for sure be the worst. Only Squirt will be able to counter Aerodactyl, and before I even get that far, I will have to make it past the Gyarados and Dragonairs without any kind of move that will be strong against them, not to mention the Dragonairs have Ice and Thunder moves that counter my entire team. So with that being said, let's get on with the Elite Four. But I made sure to sell my Master Ball before starting. I mean, it's worth nothing. Why would I even want it anyway? Oh, and here's a look at my Pokemon stats. We can see all of my Pokemon have their own specific stats that make them strong, but obviously Squirt and Ivysaur are trailing way behind Flamey. So, as we start our battle with Lorelei, I figured I would start off with Ivysaur, as her Dugong is known for making rather poor choices, and a single rest is all I need to end it. Unfortunately, one Aurora Beam is all the Dugong needed to get me to red health. I wanted to switch into Squirt, so to try to confuse the AI and possibly sweep through with a bunch of Surfs, but I fell down to Spike Cannon before I could even finish the job. I then sent out Flamey to finish off the Cloyster, and then swapped into my Ivysaur to counter the Slowbro. I knew the Slowbro would think that Amnesia is the best move to use against my Ivysaur because Amnesia is a Psychic move, and Psychic beats Grass, so I got through with a few Razor Leafs, and then Jinx came out. I knew Charizard's Flamethrower would do well, but it was going to be a 2-hit KO, and one Ice Punch is all Jinx needed to take me out. And then, Jinx outsped my Ivysaur for another Ice Punch, and yeah. Let's try that again. I decided to use a few rare candies on Ivysaur to see if I could get a significant boost in Special, and be able to turn some of my 3-hit KOs into 2-hit KOs, but things were just not looking well for my team, and I was only on the Lorelei fight. So I felt it was time to grind. I purposefully avoided all the trainers on Cycling Road in case I would have to grind, so I went all the way through Cycling Road and battled all the trainers, then went through Fuchsia so I could go to Route 15 to battle those trainers, just so I could go through Routes 14, 13, and 12. By this time all my Pokemon were around level 49, so I thought I would give Lorelei another try. This time I decided to start off with Squirtle. I figured Dugong really likes to rest, so I would try to get Dugong with any damage-dealing move allowing it to rest, where I could then swap into Ivysaur and knock it out without taking any substantial damage. Even though the Razor Leaf didn't knock out the Dugong, it was in range to just rest again, so I rinsed and repeated, and that was the end of that. I thought I would continue with the Squirtle method and whittle down the Cloyster's health, but I was still too slow and a few rounds of Spike Cannon were just too much for Squirt. I went back to Ivysaur imagining that an Ice Beam would not be enough to take me out, and to my surprise, I was faster than the Cloyster, and was able to take it out with one Razor Leaf. Then Slowbro came out, and I was hoping it would continue spamming Amnesia and a Psychic Special Drop. Perfect. I finished it off with a Razor Leaf, then sent out Flamey to deal with Jinx. This time the Flamethrower was enough to trigger the Super Potion, so I was able to take out Jinx without taking any damage. Then I was left with Lapras. Here I was hoping for consecutive Blizzard misses while I whittled its health down. I got 2 slashes out before I was taken out by Blizzard, and that was all I needed as my Ivysaur was now faster than the Lapras and beat it with a Razor Leaf. Wow. Barely missed, But again, Lorelei uses Super Potion, allowing me to get another Razor Leaf off and secure the victory. Next was Bruno, and we all know how much of a pushover this guy is. Even though Squirt was slower than the Onix, all I needed to do was use a Surf, and the first Onix was down. Then came out Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee. Both of them are weak to flying, so I just had Flamey spam fly and they went down rather easily. Then it was back to Onix again, so I had Squirt him down. Then I was left with Machamp, where I again used Fly, and then a Seismic Toss, and I'm sorry Bruno, but you suck. Then it came time for Agatha. Even though I ended up winning on my first try, this battle was not fun, and you'll see why. So I knew Flamey would have to be my ace, since he was the only Pokemon with a move that does neutral effective damage against your Pokemon. I started off with a Squirtle, hoping I could do some kind of damage, and whoa! Mega Drain does a ton of damage to Squirt. I get off one Surf before being confused. Then, after being confused, she goes into Substitute, making it harder to do any kind of damage to her. I ended up hitting myself before getting licked, and then paralyzed, only to get licked again and faint. I swapped into Flamey knowing Ivysaur had no chance. I broke her Substitute with a Seismic Toss just to get Confuse Raid. Then I hit myself in confusion, but all she used on me was a Mega Drain, which basically does nothing. I was able to get another Seismic Toss on the Gengar, just for her to use a Super Potion. Even with another Seismic Toss, it wasn't enough, but luckily her Confuse Ray missed, so I could finally finish off her Gengar with another Seismic Toss. Then came out the Golbat. I was unsure if Flamethrower or Slash would do more damage, so I chose Flamethrower because who doesn't like Flamethrower? I got a critical hit Flamethrower, so I'll never know if it was more worth it. She went for a Supersonic and missed. Perfect. I then used Slash and down went Golbat. I continued to spam Seismic Toss on Haunter as she threw out 2 Dream Eaters. Then the third Seismic Toss took down Haunter. Next came Arbok. I used a Flamethrower to take away half of its health, only for the Arbok to miss a Screech. Then I used a second Flamethrower and down went Arbok. Finally, I was left with her final Gengar. I wanted to preserve Flamey's health for as long as I could, and not get the Gengar's health down too low in order to trigger any kind of potion and be left with Ivysaur. So I put in Ivysaur and tried to use as many Razor Leafs as I could before going down to one single Psychic. With Flamey, I decided to use Flamethrower just to see if it would do more damage, but I think it did just a tad bit less than Seismic Toss. I was hit by a Psychic, but tanked it quite well, so I went back to Seismic Toss, then got confused by Confuse Ray. I went for another Seismic Toss, and got past the confusion to land the Seismic Toss and secure the victory. I ended up realizing at Lance that I did not bring enough full restores and revives with me, so I was sort of screwed and went all the way back before Lorelei to get more full restores. I also decided to grind, as I felt like the Lorelei battle was still inconsistent, as well as the Agatha battle. I came back to Lance at level 51 for both my Squirtle and my Ivysaur, and level 57 for my Charizard. And even then, I just couldn't beat Lance. Too many turns, I would get Hyper Beamed right away and lose all of my health, or get Dragon Rage too many times before I could take down the Gyarados. And that was just the Gyarados! The Dragonairs would keep landing Ice Beams and Thunderbolts on Flamey, and my Squirtle's Surf was barely able to take down the Aerodactyl, so after 10 tries I realized I needed to grind some more. I got all my party members to level 55 and Flamey to level 57, and started all over again from Lorelei. With the boost in levels, the fight became way easier. Damage to Dugong would trigger the rest, swap into Ivysaur and spam Razor Leaf. Even though they were mostly 2-hit KOs, my Ivysaur was strong enough to take anything they would throw at me. Then swap into Flamey, because now all I needed was one Flamethrower to KO the Jinx, and then Ivysaur for a 2-hit Razor Leaf KO on the Lapras. Bruno was also easier, but Bruno sucks, so that's not much to say. I could just Water Gun the Onixes now. I didn't even need to use Surf. Charizard's Fly took out the Hitmons in just one turn. Well, 2, technically. and the champ has no moves to hurt me, so again, we say, Bruno, you suck. Agatha will forever be a lottery, and even though it only took a few tries, I still just barely won despite being several levels higher. You'll see why. I start off with Squirt and spam Surf. She immediately uses Substitute, so I need to waste a turn in order to break the Substitute. She uses a Lick and I don't get paralyzed, so I go for another Surf. She switches into Golbat for some reason, which is great for me as I get off a free Surf. She then hits me with a Wing Attack just to get hit by a Surf, then misses a Supersonic and goes down with another Surf. She goes back into Gengar and confuses me, but I'm still able to get off the Surf. She lands a Lick and I snap out of the confusion and finish off the Gengar with one more Surf. I decided to switch into Flamey to preserve the PP of my Surf. Then I start up my Seismic Toss spam and she sends an Arbok. I hit Arbok with a Slash and then get hit by a Crit Acid. I finish off the Arbok with one more Slash and back comes Haunter. I get the Haunter down to red health before being put to sleep. Perfect. It takes 4 turns of me falling asleep before I wake up, and not to mention the 5th turn of me actually waking up. I was also confused during the time, so when I woke up, I hit myself. Finally, I snapped out of confusion and land a Seismic Toss to get some much needed damage. The Gengar then confuses me, again, but I'm able to get off another Seismic Toss. She then, for some reason, goes for another Confuse Ray, even though I'm still confused, so I get a chance to hit her with the final Seismic Toss, and I hit myself, knocking myself out. I switch into Ivysaur and hit a Razor Leaf as she misses Hypnosis. She goes for another Hypnosis and misses again, allowing me to finish the final Gengar. Finally, the Haunter comes back out, and she goes for Dream Eater. So I hit her with a Razor Leaf, and it's just barely not enough. She then goes for another Dream Eater, allowing me to hit her with a Razor Leaf and declare victory. So, even several levels higher, she continues to be what she will always be, a lottery. Now, on to Lance. Even though with the level increase, this was just awful. Ivysaur now had some bulk to take on a Hyper Beam, which he didn't before, but Razor Leaf was still doing nothing to the Gyarados. The Dragonairs were always doable, but consistently took down Flamey's health every time, making it really easy for the last Dragonite to hit me with a Blizzard or a Thunder. I tried using Squirtle first to see if Surf would do more damage, but I realized I needed every bit of Squirtle I could have for the Aerodactyl, as Surf was my only answer to the Flying Nightmare, that is, Aerodactyl. But even when I had Squirtle at full health, I would get hit by a Hyper Beam, or a crit hit Swift, bringing me down to really low health. I must have tried like 20 plus times, but I finally got a run, and I'll show you that now. I started off with Ivysaur, and immediately started to throw out Razor Leafs. The Gyarados used a Leer, unintentionally activating the Badge Boost glitch, and increasing my special. I used another Razor Leaf, and he used another Leer, bringing down my defense more, but raising all of my other stats. After only 2 Leers, I was now faster than the Gyarados, and could go first, allowing me to take down the Gyarados without taking any damage. I kept my Ivysaur out for the first Dragonair, and kept on spamming Razor Leaf. The Dragonair used Slam, which was fine, I still had half health. I used another Razor Leaf, bringing the Dragonair down to half health before going down to Hyper Beam. I sent out Flamey to finish off the Dragonair with a Slash. For the second Dragonair, I continued to use Slash and got hit by an Ice Beam. Luckily it didn't freeze me, so it's fine. I got off another Slash and down went Dragonair. I brought out Squirt for the Aerodactyl and used Surf before getting hit by a Hyper Beam. Luckily, Squirtle's defense is quite good and I was able to tank it, allowing me to hit him with a Surf. He used a Hyper Potion, so I threw out another Surf, bringing him back down to red health. This turn, he had to recharge his Hyper Beam, allowing me to finish him off with one more Surf. Lastly, we had the Dragonite. I tried to use Surf, but he was able to land a Thunder and down went Squirt. All I had was Flamey. I threw out a Fly for no real reason other than just trying to dodge a move, even though Gen 1 AI takes in 0 account for PP, so it doesn't really matter anyway. I land the Slash and then get hit by a Blizzard, bringing me down to red health. I go for another fly, dodging Blizzard again and landing a critical hit. Then he goes for Blizzard and misses. Finally! Now all I need is my slash to hit and not get a Gen 1 miss. I get the hit, and I finally beat Lance. All I had left was the rival fight. There's not much to say, so let's just get into it. I start off with Ivysaur and KO his Sandslash with a one-turn Razor Leaf. His next Pokemon was Alakazam. I switched into Flamey. My level is just barely low enough not to one-hit KO him, and he hits me with a Kinesis, which is not the greatest. I land another Slash, and down goes Alakazam. Next comes Executor. I use a Flamethrower, and he retaliates with a Hypnosis, but fails. Perfect! I use another Flamethrower, and down goes Executor. Next comes Cloyster, so I throw Ivysaur back in, and have him one-hit KO him with a Razor Leaf. Ninetales comes out, and we counter it with Squirt. We go for a Surf, but he confuses me in the process. We don't hit ourselves and land the first Surf. He goes for another Confuse Ray, and I hit myself. He goes for a third Confuse Ray, and I hit myself. He finally switches things up, goes for a Quick Attack, and I hit myself. He goes for one more Quick Attack, and I finally knock him out with a Surf. Lastly, we have Jolteon. Jolteon misses the first Thunder, so I'm able to land a Surf. He goes for a Thunder Wave, allowing me to get off another Surf. I realize I am out of PP for Surf now, but it doesn't matter, as I get hit by a Thunder and go down. I switch into Flamey and go for a Slash, but I'm not fast enough and die to a single one-turn Thunder. Lastly, we throw in Flower. And not only does Jolteon land a 5-turn super effective Pin Missile, I miss my Razor Leaf and die to another Pin Missile. So, this is why I told you Jolteon was a true counter to the entirety of my team. I knew that last battle was a little unlucky for me in the end, and that battle was very possible, so let's try again. On my second battle with the rival, I again started off with Ivysaur and one-hit KO'd the Sandslash with the Razor Leaf. Then, same as before, switched into Flamey for the Alakazam, 2-hit KO'd with a Slash, and then 2-hit KO'd the Executor with a Flamethrower, but not before getting hit by a 4-turn Barrage crit. Switched back into Ivysaur for the Cloyster, then switched into Squirt for the Ninetales. This time the Ninetales hit me with 2 Tail Whips, again triggering the Badge Boost glitch, raising my special, allowing me to finish off the Ninetales with 3 Surfs. Although the last one was a crit, so I'm not sure if the Badge Boost glitch would have affected the outcome or not. Who cares? Lastly, Jolteon came out and missed the first Thunder, allowing us to hit a Surf. Jolteon landed the second Thunder, forcing us into Ivysaur. Luckily this turn, the Jolteon only got a 2-turn Pin Missile, allowing us to get off a crit Razor Leaf. Then the same thing happened again, bringing us down to red health, but allowing us to get one more Razor Leaf before falling down to another Pin Missile. We threw in Flamey and went for a Slash, hoping either Thunder would miss, or he would just use another move. He threw out a Thunder Wave, paralyzing me. It was at this moment that my heart started going pitter-patter, pitter-patter, like the time Scott's thoughts did when he met his girlfriend. Reference about Scott's thoughts making reference about his girlfriend? Check. All I needed was the Slash to hit, and it did. And with that, we beat the game with a Squirtle, an Ivysaur, and a Charizard, only being able to use moves from the Smash Bros. Ultimate game. Thanks so much to anybody who stuck around until the end. I thought this was a really fun challenge video, and hope to do more like this in the future. I have a few other ideas I've been toying with, but I also have a full-time job, as well as I have like a bajillion number of hobbies that I like to pursue. A simple comment in the comment section saying how much you enjoyed this video would be enough to inspire me to make more videos like this. Thanks everybody, see you next time.